Welcome to Profit Visibility Lab. This is a short, weekly, diagnostic thinking space for founders building before scale. This week's session, Visibility, is entitled Visibility Reveals More Than You Think. And this summarizes the visibility loop that we've been examining over the last few weeks. So, this isn't a webinar, this isn't a demonstration, it isn't a walkthrough, and there's nothing you need to fix tonight. This is a thinking space. So, just listen for what resonates and take notice of it. Listen for things that resonate and those things that feel unexpectedly relevant for you. Now, before we get started, I wanted to kind of set a frame for this event. You don't need to have any answers tonight. You don't need to pull up any data. And you don't even need to participate in the chat. You just want to, the value doesn't come from agreement or action. The value in this comes from recognition. Okay? If something clicks, notice it. If something makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, notice that too. With that, let us begin. Visibility is supposed to help. More signal, more clarity, more confidence. That's the promise. And yet, many founders experience the opposite as they grow. Decisions feel heavier. Confidence becomes fragile. Involvement quietly increases. That's not because visibility failed. It's because visibility did exactly what it's supposed to do. Here's the assumption most founders make, often without realizing it. If I can see what's happening, I must be in control. That assumption holds early on. It even holds through the first phase of growth. Uh-oh. But eventually, the business asks for proof. And that's where the tension starts. Visibility is very good at exposing signal. What's happening? Where activity exists, even where motion appears. What it does not automatically provide is authority. Seeing more does not mean owning more. Knowing more does not mean deciding more confidently. That distinction matters more than most founders expect. This is where founders miss the mark, not because they lack intelligence, but because of sequencing. When everything feels important, control becomes performative. Context replaces confirmation, and decisions depend on you staying close. Nothing looks broken, but nothing feels settled either. When visibility starts to strain, it almost always shows up in one of three places. In leads, you can see activity, but not reliability. You can see delivery. In delivery, you can see effort, but not repeatability. And in cash, you can see revenue, but not cause. Visibility shows what is happening. It doesn't always explain why. And without the why, decisions get heavier. When signal increases without confirmation, decisions require more justification. Confidence depends on involvement, and risk is felt emotionally, not structurally. Founders often misread this moment. They think they need better tools, tighter dashboards, or more effort. But what's really missing is confirmation. Here's a useful contrast. Real control feels boring, predictable, but quietly confident, not urgent, not reactive, not dependent on heroics. If visibility hasn't created that feeling yet, it's telling you something. Visibility doesn't fail founders. It reveals where outcomes are predictable, where they're coincidental, and where confidence is inferred after the fact. That's the work of this loop. Not fixing, not optimizing, just seeing clearly. Once visibility stabilizes, a new question naturally appears. Do I actually own what I can see? We're not answering that tonight. But if this session resonated, you'll recognize that question when it starts to show up in your own thinking. If this resonated, the snapshot is a 3 to 5 minute orientation that helps you see where clarity is strong and where it's thin. You can take the snapshot at the link that you see on your screen. for tonight. Thank you for taking the time to think carefully. Profit Visibility Lab is a diagnostic thinking space, not to create urgency, but to reduce unnecessary pressure. I'll see you next time.